Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Seed Giver Podcast. My name is Warren and I am your host. Today is Monday, excuse me, November the 17th. Coming back, only been gone a couple of days. See, think you guys are praying for me. I know I have been to get back and give you some fresh content just as quickly as I can. Today was a good day. I had my son and one of my god kids, come over this weekend, and they moved some stuff out of uh, the garage for me. Bought a shed a few months ago. I forgot, but I still had some tools in there, and I apologize. My dog is in here. Rilo. He. Whenever I start doing something, he either on the phone or even when I come in this little studio here, he just has to come near me. So please excuse him if you hear him whining. But anyway, they moved some of the tools. Excuse me. I apologize. Got something with my throat going on here. Um, Leaf blower and different weed eaters and all that kind of stuff. So I got a kind of chance to go out there and kind of just set them where I need them to be. I got some hood there and have more room in the garage because my wife needs more space for her growing closet that she's made on one of the sides of the two-car garage. So trying to help her out and make her a happy wife, happy life, all that good stuff. Um, get that done. But anyway, excuse me. I was sitting upstairs. I was gonna lay down for a little bit and I was gonna watch a movie or something, but the movie just wouldn't start. I'd been watching it the past couple of days. It takes me forever to watch a movie. I'll watch a few minutes of it at a time, but it wouldn't play. So I was like, "What's going on with this thing?" And then it dawned on me, "Hey, instead of watching a movie, get in your word." So that's what I did. And as I was reading, it brought me back to something excuse me, that I guess I need. Anybody got some Ricolas or anything out there? Send me some Ricolas, somebody. Um, so I was thinking about this particular passage I was reading in Genesis, and I was like, "Oh man, I remember studying this a while back." And if you don't know me, I'm a I am a very um, interested in learning new things. Okay, I put it that way. And anything I can learn about stuff, I try to study it and analyze it and break it down to the who, what, when, where, and why of especially when it comes to the scriptures, because I like to know not just the surface stuff, but the meaning behind it. Studying the Greek and Hebrew and the real meaning of words. But anyway, I thought about something we used to say at my old church for benediction, and I don't know if any of you guys do it or not. Uh, you say, "May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another." That particular. I don't know if anybody else did, but we did. That was a big thing with us, and it was just something that we would say to for what I thought was something nice to say to the congregants. Each other. As we went our separate ways. But then I got to studying that thing, and I was like, okay, where did that come from? Where did that come from? And this has been some years ago, but I just came across it again today. And for those who don't know, it's from Genesis. And I'm going to read a little bit, and I promise you I won't be on here too long. Genesis 31, let's start. It's the story of Jacob and Laban. He worked like 14 years to get Rachel, and the Laban was a trickster. The whole family was a bunch of tricksters, but it is what it is. All right, so we're gonna go down here to verse 38. This is after he finally left. He took off with his wives and the children and whatnot, and Laban discovered that they were gone. So, and I'm gonna be reading from the NLT version. Genesis 31:38. For 20 years I've been with you, caring for your flocks, and all the time Your sheeps and goats were never miscarried. In all those years, I never used a single ram of yours for food. If there were anything attacked and killed by wild animals, I never showed you the carcass and asked you to reduce the count of your flock. Nope, I took the loss myself. You made me pay for every stolen animal, whether it was taken in broad daylight or in the dark of night. I worked for you through the scorching heat of the day and through cold and sleepless night. Yes, for 20 years, we're at verse 41. For 20 years, I slaved in your house. I worked for 14 years, earning your two daughters, and then 6 more years for your flock. And you changed my wages 10 times. In fact, if the God of my father had not been on my side, the God of Abraham and the fearsome God of Isaac, you would have sent me away empty handed. But God has seen your abuse and my hard work. That is why he appeared to you last night to rebuke you. Now let's get into the good part. This is where we get that may the Lord watch from. Verse 43. Then Laban replied to Jacob, these women are my daughters, these children are my grandchildren, and these flocks are my flocks. In fact, everything you see is mine. But what can I do about my daughters and their children? So come, let's make a covenant, you and I, and it will be a witness to our commitment. So these are two tricksters making a covenant with each other. So Jacob took a stone, set it up as a monument. Then he told his family members, gather some stones. So they gathered stones and piled them in a heap. Then Jacob and Laban sat down beside the pile of stones to eat a covenant meal. To commemorate the event, Laban called the place Jegar Sahathutha, which means witness pile in Aramaic, and Jacob called it Galeed, which means witness pile in Hebrew. Then Laban declared, this pile of stones will stand as a witness to remind us of the covenant we have made today. This explains why it is called Galeed, or witness pile. But it was also called Mizpah, which means watchtower. For Laban said, may the Lord keep watch between us to make sure that we keep this covenant when we are out of each other's sight. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent from one another. KJV. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you marry other wives, God will see it, even if no one else does. He is a witness to this covenant between us. Verse 51. See this pile of stones, Laban continued, and see this monument I have set between us. They stand between us as a witness of our vows. I will never pass this pile of stones to harm you, and you must never pass these stones on this monument to harm me. I call on the God of our ancestors, the God of your grandfather Abraham, and the God of my grandfather Nahor, to serve as a judge between us. So Jacob took an oath before the fearsome God of his father Isaac to respect the boundary line. And we'll stop right there. So when I first read this and studied it, I was like, why are we saying that as a benediction? I don't have a, that I know of, I don't have a alt, or I don't feel like somebody here in the congregation is going to try to harm me, and I'm definitely not going to harm them. And I was like, why do we say that? Where did that come from? What does it mean? And it's a long list of stuff that we can say, or that we're taught to say. And if you're not a, there are a few Bereans around, that is those who like to study and read the word. Cool to say at benediction, that's what you're supposed to say, and yada yada yada. And that goes into a lot of stuff that's going on in the church today, where people tend to take scriptures and, I don't want to say twist them, but yeah, sometimes they do twist them to mean other things, or to make it fit what they want to fit. And for a lack of reading your own Bible, um, we'll just take what people say, and it could be the gospel. Now, do I think there's any particular harm in saying that benediction? Yeah, I don't know. Um, yes and no. But if you take a look at stuff and know the real meaning behind it, we'll be more careful to use certain things. It's in the Bible, so there's nothing wrong with the statement, but we have to look at the context in which it was meant. These two guys that were at each other's throat, they hated each other. They were always trying to do something to, they were conniving, full of guile. They were doing all this stuff, so they had to make a contract or covenant between themselves to make sure that one or the other didn't do something to harm to harm each other. So it was kind of a crazy thing. That would be a crazy thing to say for a benediction if you're in a house of the Lord with people that you worship with on a regular basis, unless something, you got something really weird going on there. But anyway, that's just something I was thinking about today. I figured I'd hop on here with that. I hopefully it found you interested in it. Something that you may or may not know. Working on some other stuff along this lines of things that we do and say, traditions in the church, and what they actually mean, and whether or not you should or should not do these certain things. But anyway, that's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would, do me a favor, like, share. If you would consider subscribing to the channel, it would mean a lot to me. I appreciate it. But other than that, you guys have a great and wonderful day. I hope you learned something. I love you. God loves you too. And there's nothing you can do about it. Until the next time, y'all have a great one.